Let's rock! Oh no!
Good morning, everyone. I'm Adrian. Here we are today at the Australian Computer Museum in Sydney. And today I've got the Velleman, actually it's Whadda branded. It's classic TV tennis game with analog bats, or what we would probably know as Pong. So this is just a little kit that you can put together yourself. And you can actually make two controllers there with little paddle controls. And this will let you play Pong on your TV. And it just outputs regular analog signal. So let's open up the box and have a look at what's inside. Okay, time for the unboxing. So it's actually really nicely packaged. It's a lot better than some of the old kits that would just come in a little Ziploc bag. And we'll take off that sleeve. And then we've got a an instruction sheet here, pretty minimal, but I think that it's going to be fairly self-explanatory. Most of the stuff is not a lot of connectors there really anyway. So we've got our main PCB and our little controller PCBs. So we're going to have, I think, some kind of potentiometer here, and then there's going to be a switch on the back that you press for your serve. Let's get all these out. Okay, we've got some battery clips, which are all in individual little bags. I'm not sure why they did that. Must be the way that they are sold. Okay, another controller there. And here we go, we've got a whole little bag with the rest of our stuff in there. Cool stuff do they give us? Okay, so we've got just a bit of wire there. I was going to say it's 2-core wire. I think it's actually 4-core because it's like a stereo type thing. And I guess that will be divided in half and used for the two controllers. Down the track, I might decide to actually make some more interesting looking controllers and then put some longer wires on. But we'll go with this for now. Right, what else did they give us? Got some nice little knobs here. A few controllers. Got the potentiometers. Got a tactile switch. I think we've got one here. And then there'll be one on each controller. We've got a chip which is listed as a PIC chip. So PIC is a type of programmable microcontroller. I'll get a close-up shot of this and overlay it. PIC is a programmable microcontroller similar to the AVRs that they use in Arduinos. It's a fairly old one. I used to work with PIC chips when I was at uni. So it's not exactly anything special, but it doesn't need to be. I mean, it's Pong. So I think it's more than capable of running the game. And got a socket to put that chip in. Got some nice little Goldie RCA jacks there. A very small potentiometer, which is going to go here. Brightness. Okay, so I guess that's just going to turn up and down the intensity of the signal coming out. Generally, these sort of simple analog game things, what they'll do is just pulse one of the pins on the microcontroller at the right speed so that it gets treated as a black and white video signal. And literally just by turning up and down the strength of that pulse, you change the brightness. So it's very simple in its operation. Got our electrolytic cap. Got some rubber feet. That looks like a clock crystal. Let's see if my old eyes can read the numbers there. Actually, very hard to see. Okay, I think it says 16, so I'm guessing 16 megahertz. A couple of little caps. bunch of resistors, and I think that's a diode, probably just for protection in case you put the batteries in backwards, and an LED, which I'd say will be just the power LED. So yeah, great little collection of parts here. Let's move over to the soldering station, and I'll start putting it together. Okay, let's get soldering. Now, given us this nice little roll or little strip of resistors and the diode there, and they're arranged in such a way that this is the order that they're listed on the instructions there. So R1 to R4 are the first four, R5, etc., etc. And then these last two are for the controllers there, so shouldn't be too hard. So let's start with some resistors. So R1, this is a 2K resistor here. Let's find it. Where's R1? R1 just over here, there you go. Not much room, so we're going to have to bend these legs right in. I've got to really bend them in. So that little resistor. It's a bit wobbly, I think, but we'll stand off for the next one. Okay, R1 is in. R2. Bend those legs right down. And things are a bit tight here, but there's no SMD parts. It's all through holes, so even someone like me should be quite capable of soldering it. R3. And R4. Just going to do these four at the same time because they have the same value. It's easy just to pull them all out at once. Where is R4?
Give me more space up here.
R4. Alright, we've got our lovely Hakko soldering station here, which heats up very quickly.
This is like all the
It's good. I'm not a soldering expert. If you want to give me any tips in the comments, then let's just do so politely. Okay, clean the tip. And let's snip these wires off. Alright, that's our first four resistors. Ash, do you want to come and have a look what I'm doing? Do you do any soldering?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay.
For a while.
Yeah, and I know that whenever anyone does soldering on YouTube, people always tell them they're doing it wrong, but I mean, everyone's doing it wrong, so I don't know if there's actually a right way to do it.
But then again, everyone has their own opinion, right?
Exactly. They'll say, don't put the solder on the soldering iron, don't put the, don't touch the legs, don't bend the legs, there'll always be something, isn't there? Yeah. So have you ever played Pong?
Not for a long time.
You're aware of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I was watching a show. There's a documentary. It was all about like the history of video games, you know, and they had a whole thing about. So there's, I don't know. Do you know much about like history of games and stuff? Like,
Generally, you
there was a guy Ralph Baer, who he was like kind of an old school inventor, you know. He made all sorts of different things, you know. He made like electric toothbrushes and stuff. But he worked for a company that I think made TVs as well. He came up with the idea, you know, that he made some circuits that could, I guess maybe they were originally for testing TVs, I'm not sure, but, you know, they could put like a dot on the screen and you could move it around. And so he came up with this like sort of thing where you could play a sort of a really simple tennis game on the TV. And then a few years down the track, Atari made Pong. And I think that they did end up getting sued by this guy because he said, well, you know, you've copied my idea.
Oh.
But, I mean, I guess that's the thing. It's like the idea was sort of just having two little rectangles and then they bounce a square around. So it's like, is that really, you know, is that copyable or not? Because I suppose, you know, like it would have precluded like really any games. But I think what ended up happening was that Atari did sign some kind of license with this guy.
Yeah.
Because by that time, other companies were also making Pong games.
Right.
And so then they said, well, we'll sign this license, you know, but then you've got to go and sue all the other guys who are making Pong games.
Because so, then it's an infringement, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and so then, like, Atari was the only ones who were legally allowed to make the game, you know, so I guess it was kind of a win-win for those guys, wasn't it? So 6, 7, 8. That's going to be the end of our little resistance for a while. So here it is. Yeah, but I mean, I guess, you know, like, you've sort of grown up with computer games, so, but
I guess I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember, like, not having a computer at home, you know, like, we got our first computer when I was 7.
What, in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so that was the Amstrad. And prior to that, like, I had seen, you know, games and stuff, like arcade games, but I never really got to play them because I was just a little kid, I didn't have any money, you know.
But then for me, I've never seen an arcade game before.
Yeah, so I guess that's...
So compared to both of us, I think I have it a bit more worse.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I guess that was the thing, because, you know, when I was a kid, like, the arcades were always a generation ahead of the home ones.
That's correct.
You know, so you would
But then again, you'd have to get out of the house to be able to play a game. Whereas now you just have to walk to your living room or in your own bedroom.
Well, that's it, you know. So there would be things like, I mean, you know, like, so, I mean, Sega is a good example where they would have, you know, the 16-bit arcade machines, but they still had an 8-bit, like the Master System, an 8-bit system that you could buy at home, and they would cut everything down, you know. So you'd be able to get sort of the same game, but it would be, you know, a 16-bit game cut down to 8-bit. So it was never the same. And then, like, when the Mega Drive came out, that was 16-bit, and so it was a lot closer. So, like, Mega Drive Golden Axe or something would look a lot like the arcade. I think it had fewer colours, but it was still pretty much the same. But then, you know, they had 32-bit arcades, so there's stuff like Daytona. And I remember the first time I saw Daytona, I was absolutely blown away because I'd only ever seen, like, flat shaded polygon graphics as 3D, you know, like, just, like, it was 3D, you know, like, just those flat shapes.
Those basic shapes of...
Everything looks like it's made of cardboard, yeah, and...
Yeah.
10, okay, great. And, yeah, but then, like, Daytona had these, like, it was still polygons, but they had texture mapping, you know, so each polygon then had a whole picture on it, and it just made everything look so much sort of realer and more vibrant, and I couldn't imagine anything ever looking better, and of course it did, you know, like, it
well, over the years,
continually changed, yeah. But that was the thing, was that, like, you would go to the arcade and that would be like the future of games, you know, would be in the arcade. But I don't know exactly when it flipped. but maybe around like the PlayStation 2 or like when 3D graphics cards and computers started to get big. But it sort of got to a point where I guess, you know, the home stuff caught up with the arcades. And yeah, I guess that like now, if you go into an arcade, like the most popular stuff is really things that you can't play at home. So like the dance machines or the, you know, a lot of those kind of prize machines, you know, kids always still like those. So kids will play whack-a-mole, you know, because you can't do that at home. You need to have the actual thing where you're hitting it and, you know, have the whole cabinet and stuff. Okay, next up we want some ceramic capacitor C5, 100 nanofarads. It says 104 on it. So these guys say 22. These ones say 103. Oh, I think it's that little blue one? Oh god, I can't even see that. Okay, well, I guess this is the only one that doesn't match the others, so I think we've got to say that this is C5. Just process of elimination. Yeah, and when I was at uni, I actually built a similar kit to this, which we've got over in the game area there. And it was you know, using one of these microcontroller chips to run it, but it only had little push buttons. So you could really only just move up and down, like you didn't have any speed control. So I'm hoping this will be a bit more fun because you'll have that analog control. But yeah, I did that as a project for uni, and so I bought, I think, 4 of those kits.
Did you get a lot of marks for it?
Yeah, I think I did all right with it actually, because I got 4 of those kits, and one of them I just left as a kit, so that's there.
Oh, okay.
But the other ones, what I did was I built them into consoles. Like I made my own console. I mean, it was a Pong console. All I did was play Pong, you know. But it was more just about the design. I was doing a design course, you know. So it was the design of the thing and the.
Of course.
I did packaging. Did like a poster that would potentially be the advertising for it, you know. And I called it the Dalek 79. You know, because
I think I know why, because of Doctor Who.
Because it looked like, you know, because the way that I did it was I built the board, which was similar in size to this, and then it had little buttons on it for the control, but I just took those out and then extended them to wires, and then I put the board inside of, I actually bought a metal cooking bowl, you know, just a stainless steel bowl, and so I put the bowl over the top, you know, and screwed the board inside that.
It wouldn't have been very efficient though, because of the stainless steel though.
Oh, what do you mean? Like,
I would have used plastic.
Oh, like what, for heat or something?
Yeah, and
it ran on 3 volts. There was no heat, you know, so you didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but after prolonged usage, it would have.
Maybe. Look, it was pretty much open at the bottom. I didn't think it would be a problem, and again, it was more about the design, you know. And then I got smaller bowls for the joysticks, and then I had kind of a switch sticking out the top, and you would click up and down, you know, to play the game. And, that was kind of. So I thought it would actually be, you know, if I can get this one working, it would be kind of fun to see if I can do something similar, like make some proper little paddle controllers, you know, instead of just having these, like maybe build something around the, you know, that will look a bit more 70s. Yeah, because it's always a bit of a fun thing just to see if you can like design something in the style of like, you know, an older time or something. Yeah. And do you read a lot of science fiction stuff or anything?
Well, I used to be into sci-fi.
So it's the whole genre like cyberpunk, you know, which I guess is still around now.
It is.
But in the 80s, like cyberpunk was kind of, you know. I mean,
there's also the game Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah. That was it. You know, cyberpunk was sort of like a future thing, whereas it's, I guess now, like we're sort of, I don't know, it's weird. We're actually in the cyberpunk world. Like all of the computer technology and all of the weird social stuff from cyberpunk has happened, but it's just that all the cool stuff hasn't. You know, it's like if you look
20 years ago we didn't. Well, we thought that 20, 30 years ago we were thinking that we'd have flying cars by 2024. But in reality, you're looking at somewhere around 2050.
Well, flying cars are never going to happen. I don't believe in flying cars because
Because when that happens, I'll only believe it when cars start flying too.
well, it's efficiency too. Like, I mean, you've got to think that, a flying car is going to use more energy to get around than a rolling car, right? Like,
That's
a
true.
rolling car just rolls. A flying car, you've got to lift it up. And we do already have, we have flying cars. They're called helicopters.
That's true.
You know,
And then you've got to think about it.
Why
'cause it's,
don't you take a helicopter to work every day?
Because then again, if you think about it this way, to get off the ground, you need something like a jet engine anyway.
Yeah, well, because helicopters are ridiculously expensive. They use so much fuel and they're very loud that you can't actually take them anywhere. And they're not safe for regular idiots to go around in because if they crash, they'll
Definitely.
knock over a house. So that's the thing. It's like, that's why we won't have flying cars. But what we do have is, like I said, we have a lot of the cyberpunk stuff.
And also, we do have we do have jetpacks too, like water jetpacks for now.
Well,
And some normal jetpacks in testing.
but that was kind of the thing with cyberpunk, is it was never really a very high tech sort of world like building, because it was everything in cyberpunk is a bit sort of dirty and stuff, and so it's like everything's a bit broken, and and it's sort of the world that we've got, and that. But it's just what I was saying about all the cool stuff is more like that. We didn't get, any of the new fashion or anything. Like, everyone still dresses pretty much like they did back in, like, the 90s.
That's correct.
Like, I don't know, just, couldn't we have some jumpsuits or something? Could we have some...
That would be fun.
I mean, even back in the 90s, we wanted to have, like, all those leather jackets like everyone in The Matrix, those long jackets, and it's like, we don't even have those now.
That would be awesome, though.
We don't have mirrored sunglasses. Everyone had mirrored sunglasses in Cyberpunk, didn't they?
Some people do, though.
Yeah.
But only for the ones that are shady, because those ones are more attributed to being more of the drug lords.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess that's the other... I mean, Cyberpunk was always based on kind of a gang culture type thing as well, and there were always gangs. There was Yakuza and stuff running around Cyberpunk things,
That's correct.
But yeah, I mean, there is a whole thing of people now making things like what they call cyber decks. So
I don't think I've heard of that before.
So back in the cyberpunk stories, they would talk about like their decks, or it was essentially like a portable computer. That like hackers would have these little portable computers that they would carry around. That would let them hack into it. And of course now we all have phones, which are portable computers, but they're just a black rectangle. Whereas like the cyber deck was kind of it was like a prop, and so it would just look really, really silly, I guess.
So something like something similar to, I believe,
like the old Palm Pilot type things they were like a clamshell thing with a keyboard that would fold open. Like that, but then with heaps of ports so that you could plug it into everything and hack it, and so people.
But then again, a lot of things were body suited, so you could just plug yourself into the mainframe and all that stuff.
Well, the wrist thing, I guess you would have seen Fallout, where they have the wrist computer.
That's correct.
I mean, that was a very cyberpunk thing, like where they would have these wrist computers that would be essentially like one of those mini laptops strapped onto your wrist. You'd open it up and like that,
I still remember from Fallout 76.
It's a great sort of aesthetic. Like, it's kind of a shame that we don't have that. And I know because, you don't actually want that because it's impractical. You really want to have a phone that sits in your pocket that's, tiny.
Rather than something that constantly sits on your wrist and then you end up with constant RSI, it's going to be a problem.
Wouldn't it at least be nice, then you could tell who the hackers are because they've got the biggest pile of junk strapped onto their wrist, Like, this guy must be really good. Like, look at this. It goes into the... Because it's like, you go into an office now and it's like, I mean, everyone's just got a computer, Like,
that's right.
It's not like back in the day, when like computers sort of... It had to be a bit weird to have a computer, It's like they've all got a computer now, So how can you tell who's like the proper...
how can you tell who's the hacker?
Who's the proper hacker? Yeah, exactly,
Because... As of everyone, for a long time, a hacker has been identified as being anyone. Even a 2-year-old child can hack.
Yeah.
It's nothing about stereo. It's nothing about demographic anymore.
I suppose that's it. And, and it is kind of gatekeeping to say you can only be a hacker if you've got a goatee beard, and
and you work for some terrorist organization. It used to be like that a long time ago, but
there is something though, again, it's just that I do kind of like that old aesthetic of that computers are like, it's a computer, and it's like he's hacking our mainframe, and that everything is, and it's
something like the Matrix.
Yeah, and it's kind of that now that computers become so ubiquitous, that they're everywhere, and then it's like you don't see them anymore. But that's what that is what I kind of try to do with some of the stuff here. Is to make it look a bit. Hey, here's a computer, that it's a special thing.
Make it look more interesting.
Yeah.
This is generally not
I've got a couple of capacitors in there. I'm going to put in C3 and C4.
C4 law.
Well, yeah, it's not that, I hope.
Maybe next thing you know,
kaboom! It's funny, my son watches all these let's play videos and stuff, and so he picks up a lot of
humor from it.
Just a lot of terms, but he doesn't really 100% know what it is. So he knows the word C4.
But he doesn't know what a C4 is.
Well, he knows it's an explosive, but he doesn't know, or he thinks that every gun is either a Glock or an AK-47 because those are the ones that they always have in games,
Yeah.
They're not really, but, and it's like...
And that's not really realistic.
Yeah. I suppose it's like anything. People always just, learn stuff from watching movies and things like that.
But then again, we wouldn't have the life we have today if it wasn't for the movies we have today.
Yeah. It is, I guess, what you were saying about flying cars, where it's I guess there was, there was a thing up until, I don't know when, maybe up until around the, start of
even
the
Tesla
century.
was, I remember, even Tesla was thinking of making a project of it.
Yeah, Tesla's always thinking of something, which I don't know if, Tesla's...
But then again, he came up with SpaceX, and that's what he's currently working on.
Yeah.
Getting all the humans to space before the end of the world.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I guess that's getting into a lot of stuff like politics and that, but, I kind of feel like if you were, one of the most powerful people on Earth, that you're probably... It would be nicer if you tried to prevent the end of the world than to just say, oh, well, I'm going to make a thing to get away from it. Well, it's not realistic to...
No one can run away from their problems all the time.
Well, the fact is that you could never transfer a large part of the Earth's population to another planet as a,
Then it's just going to increase the risk.
Well, you couldn't do that as a way to deal with environmental catastrophe, because it's like... To live anywhere on Earth, you could live in the middle of Antarctica, right? It's like it's a deadly place. There's no sun for half the year. It's like if you go outside, you'll die, right? But there's air outside. There is water.
Air being oxygen rich, where on other planets it's going to be interesting to make artificial oxygen.
And I just think that realistically, to send someone to Mars and then keep them alive on Mars, it's going to use more resources than what it would do to keep them alive on Earth. So I don't think you can say, oh well, we're just going to send.
Then what? We're just going to keep mining the planet over there.
Look,
seems unrealistic.
I think that there will be people that will go to Mars and will live there, some of them, and then presumably they'll have children and there will be a population on Mars 1,000 years from now. But I don't think everyone's going to pack up from Earth and leave Earth and then live on Mars, because it's just, if you work out the
again,
maths,
as we were saying, it's impractical.
Yeah, you can't carry that many people, across that distance.
It's pretty much, light distance to get there.
But also, I don't know, we sort of think that, oh, it's terrible for all these people. It's like, I don't think that people are inherently bad for the environment. Like, at the end of the day, a human is a large mammal, like a kangaroo, right? Like, we don't sort of see a bunch of kangaroos hopping around Australia and say, oh man, these kangaroos are going to eat all the grass, because it's like, then more grass grows. Like, they poop on it and it grows back, right? Like,
but then again, that goes for any animal.
yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's not the actual, like, the presence of the people. We're not breathing too much. We're not eating too much. It's all the other stuff we do. We drive around in cars and fly around in planes, like, we buy phones and then throw them away and buy new ones. And it's like...
But then again, most things nowadays are recyclable.
Well, we hope so, because that's the thing, is like, that we would hope can change, because the actual facts of human biology, or at least so far, are pretty immutable. So you've got to eat, you've got to breathe, you've got to drink water. But there is enough food and air and water in the world for all the people. It's all the other stuff, all the oil and electricity and...
Which is finite.
Tantalum, things like that, which we have to figure out. But...
And fossil fuels, don't forget.
Yeah, but look, I mean, I think that those problems could be solved. I think that there's probably a lot of money in not solving them. Is how I would say it. Like, I think that right
I
now,
think that's how they're putting it as well.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously, if you're selling stuff right now, you want to sell it now. You don't want to say, oh well, let's wait until we have Because I guess that's the thing. It's like, I mean, if you go outside and find a pigeon, right? Like, that pigeon would have more computing power than your phone, right?
That's correct.
But it's like, you just go outside and they're in the garbage, they just come out of nowhere. They're born in the garbage, they die and go back in the garbage, And it's like, there's no environmental footprint for a pigeon, right? It's just there. So it's like, like we really should try to work out, well, how can we make it so your iPhone is, as clean as a pigeon? Like surely there's some way that we can have, like, I don't know, some maybe biotech, maybe nanotech, I don't know, but so that, like...
Well, we already technically do have biotech, but it's only for, only to log in to your phone and, authenticate.
Well, that's biometrics, but I mean, like, that if you could have some way that, like, the old brain in a jar thing, right? Like, could you actually grow some kind of, like, grow a pigeon brain in a jar, but, use it to run your computer?
Yeah.
Build our own matrix, wouldn't we? I suppose that was the thing with the Matrix too. Is like, I think they had to simplify it for the audience of the time and say that they were using the people as a power source. But that makes no sense. Like, really, the amount of energy you would need to keep the people alive is more than the amount of energy you get out of them. And if it's just a biological power source, then why not just use rats or pigeons? But I think they were really, the idea was they were using the humans as a computing resource. The idea is that, the computers, the AIs, presumably, they needed a lot of computing power to keep themselves going. And a human brain, if they could find a way to piggyback on that, that would, give them a very cheap, powerful computer. And so I think that was the idea, So in the Matrix, it's like you're going to work and doing all this stuff, but that's actually doing the computation for the AIs. So that it's like every time you go and do something in the Matrix that you're actually running a program without realizing it, so that you were the computer.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could imagine something like that, where we've just got some big farm of brain cells somewhere, and that's kind of growing. And that it's not, it's not like sentient in any way. It's not a person, but that's our computer, and that it's just eating garbage and, just spitting out fertilizer for the plants. It's not a immutable fact that we have to make computers out of all of these things that come out of the ground and can't go back into it.
Well, that's still one. That's still one goal for humans, isn't it? That we want to try to do before effectively we have to either move or deal with the end of the world.
Like I said, like there's no moving. You know, like I think that the worst case is just that there's fewer people. People die out to some degree, but there's no moving. It's not like we're going to all just hop on a big spaceship and fly away, because again, what you would need to make that spaceship is way more than what you'd need to actually just fix the world in its current state. So I think that's the sensible choice, is to try and just work with the planet that we've got.
Before it's too late.
Because even if Mars was already like a perfect place for us to live, just the transport, I think, is so energy intensive that I don't think we can really do that. Okay, now battery holders. Let's see if I can. Okay, so they're actually all the same. That's good, I think. Let's find out. Yeah, they're all the same part number. Okay. That's good. I was worried about getting the polarity mixed up on these battery holders, but so they're the same slide in there. But yeah, it is always an interesting thing though with computer games, especially like about, I don't know, who's like, what's an idea, like who's stealing ideas and things like that. And people will say, oh, this guy stole the idea, this guy really invented it. But it's sort of like...
Look, everyone's got their own, everyone's got their own plus and minus for it. Because everyone's pretty much just doing it for the money.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, am I doing this for the money? There's no money in this. This is costing me money. I think especially computer people are just weird, and just like to do these things because it's there and it tickles our brains. Ash, if you could make your own exhibit here in the museum, what do you think would be a good thing to have? Have a display.
I don't quite know at the moment, actually, though.
Because I effectively have been, with the game wall, I've been given the opportunity to make my own exhibit, and it's all just like video games from the 80s and 90s, right? So it's kind of, that's just what, that's obviously my thing, because it's like, those are the games I loved when I was a kid, and, I guess I'm immature enough that I'm not that interested in business computers, that I really do see computers as a toy.
Look, I would do something like a computer thing, like a more, like, not only old tech, but new tech as well. But then again, it's a museum. It's not something for only new tech. Because then we would have to optimize on space.
Yeah, and I guess there's a thing about, like what do you call a museum? Like, a lot
it's
of things...
something to, for me, a museum is just basically something to showcase how we've done in history. Like, say, for example, like the National War Museum, where it shows different types of weapons that were used in the wars.
Then there's like science museums, there's things like the Powerhouse Museum or the Questacon, which, they're kind of focused on sort of having these things that will teach kind of principles or knowledge about science. Did I miss something here?
Probably not.
There's a button, push button. Oh, I forgot to put the button in. Great, let's do that then. Like that. Yep, okay. Thought I'd missed something. Yeah, because I think about things like, should we have like a, like a more general kind of how computers work or something, like something that would teach you about, I don't know, logic or about the difference between bits and bytes or things like that. Or like that wouldn't necessarily be a particular old computer, but it would just be, like maybe like some kind of board or display or something that would say
something like an Arduino with different not an Arduino, like a small circuit,
yeah.
like maybe with an a few LEDs.
Yeah, like just press this and it makes an AND gate or something, so that people can see.
And then at the end of that, we'll have like a buzzer.
Yeah.
If those two, if you press two at the same time.
Yeah, that's
or if there can be an OR gate and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a logic based.
Okay, two of these. Where are we going to put this resistor? Right up top there. Okay, great. RB. That's resistor for the button. We're sort of, are still kind of thinking about our role as a museum. Like, what are we just trying to keep things, or are we trying to show things, or are we trying to talk about things? Like on the weekend we had a kid coming with his mum. He was doing a school project, and so took him around, gave him a little tour and a talk about how all of these machines work and about the history of computers and stuff. And then I thought, well, should we actually have that written down somewhere here? Actually, we have a poster that says, "Who is Charles Babbage?" or something.
Or you can have, I guess that might work.
Because I suppose it's like, a lot of these things that you can just look up on Wikipedia, but then is it better to have it here so people can sort of see it while they're looking at the things? I don't know.
Because then you can, because then that also shows a bit more about the history, not just you can just see the device, but who's the inventor behind it?
Yeah.
Where the inspiration for making it come from.
Yeah, I guess it's like, because we don't want to make it too dry and like just have and then I guess it's like, why are people coming here? Like most people, I guess, like the regulars that are coming here to work on stuff or do things, like in the workshop. But then we do get, like occasionally we get kids in, and then it's like,
especially the school-age kids.
Yeah, and then do we? Because I suppose it's like, I sort of think, I want to play games, but then I guess if you're 10 in 2024, maybe you don't actually want to play a bunch of 16-bit games. They're probably not that exciting for them.
Even though that was the kind of thing from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Well, not a few, like a bit more than a few.
Well, that's it. When I was a kid, it's like they were a good game, but then it's not really a good game now. And it's, I suppose that those things probably do appeal more to like older people that are nostalgic for them. Okay, here we go. One button. We've talked about things like maybe that we could do a soldering workshop or something, like that we could have, something like this, right? Like, I can't remember how much this kit cost. But, what if we, I don't know, that's the thing, like would people pay for it? Like if we said to someone, hey, pay us $100 and we'll give you the Pong kit and have, like 6 workstations set up, and you can, we'll walk you through building it. You can make your set, and the experts at the museum will show you how to solder it. And at the end, you go home with this computer game. Like, it sounds like a good idea, but then I guess, even things like the price, where do you price that at? So I guess we'd have to price it more than just the cost of the kit.
Right.
How much are people really going to pay for it? I don't know. Yeah, I love the idea that, what if we could say, go to a high school or something and they can just, like get, I don't know, 10 of their kids that are into this stuff and just, send them over and then...
Or maybe school classes. Or maybe just like, not
I
something
suppose
like
it would
a
make sense to
school.
do it at the school though, because I think if we get a bunch of like 15-year-olds here with soldering irons and somebody burns himself, then that's
that
a problem
becomes a
for us.
liability.
Yeah. Whereas I think if we do it at the school, presumably the school already has some safety things in place and their own insurance and that. So I don't know. And then I suppose also who's going to run it? Like, I feel like it'd probably end up being me. I don't know. I don't really feel like it.
I don't think Adrian would want to bother with those kind of things.
No, and look, I mean, I've got kids, so I suppose that I sort of know how, but I also know how annoying kids can be,
Yeah,
So it's
so
like-
then you'd have more of an inside view of what it would be like.
Yeah, I guess so. So what do we do with this one? Oh, okay, so I'm going to put this through like that, and then, and then this is going to be on the front, and then the button's going to be on the back. Or is... Oh, I think I've done this backwards, have I? No, wait, because this has got to go... I should have done this on the other side. Is that going to be a problem? Am I going to be... I just realised I should have been... I should have put the switch, the button on this side. And then this on this side.
Well, you can always unsolder it.
Yeah.
Just, but then again,
Well, we've got our desoldering thing, so I guess I can go using that, can't I? What's this plug into? Okay, there we go. Okay, so this fun little thing here, it's sort of like a hollow soldering iron, so I'm going to melt the solder and then press this and it vacuums up all the solder. Well, in theory, it's not really all the solder, but that's I'll leave the resistor because that's small enough it's not going to interfere with anything. I'm just a bit worried if... Yeah, I'm just a bit worried if I put that variable resistor on the wrong side that maybe it's going to reverse the motion or something, so I think I do need to get...
then it'll be a polarization problem.
Yeah. So, let's pop our little button. Oh, that was really clean actually, that's nice. So... this side, we're doing that, and then push it in, and then I guess I've just got to solder it on top of the pads instead of through. Yeah, that makes more sense because then when I turn it over, I'm just going to point here and we'll see that stuff. So that's good. Okay, not such a drama. This desoldering thing actually does make it a lot easier. I hate desoldering stuff normally. Okay. There we go. Got a controller wired up now. This finger tighten note doesn't need to be super tight, and the solder should all be in place anyway. Okay. Turn it to the extreme there, and then we'll see the extreme. So cool that way. Maybe if I just move it around a bit more. So we'll make it sort of, yeah, there we go. So the two extremes are roughly symmetrical. Oh, maybe. it's got stuff. Okay, and then button on the back. Great. Oh, now I've got to desolder this other one. I forgot that I'd done that. I wonder where all that solder goes. There must be some kind of thing inside there that's probably filling up in lumps of solder that we're supposed to empty, but I don't actually know where it is. So that's someone else's problem.
You could also have an exploded view of a laptop around here. That could be another good idea.
Yeah,
that's
so
something I have thought
have
of.
all of the parts of the computer out.
Like maybe on a board.
Yeah. Why am I doing this? Keep putting things in upside down. There we go. That's the right way, isn't it? Let's have a look. Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so it's actually like a very simple circuit here. You can see there's only 2 wires. And when you press the button, it's just bridging them, so it's like a short. And then I guess when you turn this, it's just sending more or less voltage. So that's probably why we've got a little resistor here, because I guess even when this is on its extreme, it's still got some resistance. And then when you click that, it goes to 0. So 0 is like a button, and anything above 0 is an input. You know, so it's quite clever.
So in theory, the button should be a reset button.
I think the button is actually to serve, like to start. So when you start, you've got your 2, Pongs or whatever.
Oh, to push the
and
ball
you've got the
away.
ball stuck on yours, and then you go up and down, and then you go beep, and then it throws it. I think also, you can see it's a smash, so I think that, because this is what I've seen in some other ones, is if you hit the button as the ball hits your back, it will actually come back faster. So it's like to, try to attack the other player. Okay, we've got our washer on. Alright, we're on the home stretch now. Yeah.
That's why I'm going to change it to an OLED screen. But it doesn't bleed.
You're going to change it.
Yeah,
You mean you're going to put a new screen? Can you do that?
it's $72 to get the part on eBay.
Really? So why is that? Did they make the same phone with 2 screens or something?
Perhaps. 'Cause Samsung has always had OLED displays since the S6 because of the always-on display.
Never even occurred to me that was possible. Okay. Now, I thought we were going to have 4 wires going to each controller, but I think we just got to have 2, so we'd split this, it says. And then this has got...
It comes with its own wiring.
Yeah, so it's got 2 cores, and... Let's see if I can use this. I've got a great little wire stripper at home. How do I do it?
Forgot to bring mine.
Second. Let's use this one. Let's see if we can do this. Let's put it. Oh, I think I've done it. So there we go. We've got the what I really shouldn't do is just strip it with my teeth, which I always do. It's bad.
Yeah, I
it's
think
bad
we
for
all
your
have
teeth,
that.
but it's so convenient. It's like just and I'm really trying not to. I don't want to do it on camera because I know that one of you guys will, oh, why'd you put that in your teeth? You're gonna. I'll tell you what. I grew up with no fluoride in my town, and my teeth are pretty much living on borrowed time. I think that and it's crazy because I haven't had a cavity in like 25 years. But I know because I had so many when I was a kid. I know that like the roots of my teeth are probably just inherently screwed. So I don't know. Gotta do what we can though.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Like my
You cut it.
I tried to strip it and of course I cut it. Yeah. Let's pull it more out. Go again. Even if I leave the sink, it's curved. This will be 20% it's curved. Which I think is throw out some of the boxes around there. I don't know about it. Unless little screens.
Then it'll be a deathly hallows, yes.
Guys, I'm just going to go off camera and use my special other wire strippers that I have around here. Okay, great. We got that wire stripped. Isn't that good?
Yeah, it was pretty quick, pretty much quicker than the one you had before.
Yeah. I never did the other one.
Don't cut it this time.
This is my operating system. Yeah, that's what my phone that I was talking about, with the bad screen did that flicker thing. So obviously
it's not only that, but it's bled from the power button. That's where it got. That's where it
gets a crack. And it's funny because I guess when they talk about it being a liquid crystal screen, there is literally some kind of liquid in there, or at least a gel. It's flexible or fluid. So I guess that's why when you crack it, it does look like something has spilled inside it, doesn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately. But thank God it's not really much of a problem.
Alright, there's one wire. The next one. Oh, I got lucky. This one I managed to actually strip the inner wire and the outer wire. Just make sure I haven't got any little dangly shorts. Okay, we have managed to strip some wires.
Gmail.
What are we going to do? Okay, oh good, they're very thorough, these Bellman guys. Not like your AliExpress kits, They built in a little bit of strain relief there. It's nice and tight. You know what a smart person would do? A smart person would tin the wires before putting it through those holes, wouldn't they? Let's pretend for a second that I'm smart and do that.
Yeah, it's alright. Everyone makes their mistakes. After all.
The real lesson of this video is that you don't actually have to be very good at soldering to do soldering. You just got to do it. Keep doing it, eventually you'll become good at it. I hope. You just become sensible enough to give it up.
Neither am I, because you gotta win some to lose some. Or rather, you gotta lose some to win some.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. Oh, look at that. I've successfully soldered 2 wires. Alright. There's no markings on these to say that one's player 1 or player 2 is there. No. Okay, so what do we do? Hang on. Okay. So it's got to go through there.
Oh, so it's got RCA for input output.
Yeah, well, because it's I mean, I was going to say it's composite video, but I don't think it even really is strictly composite because composite is like
Composite is a type of.
Well, composite means you've got brightness and color in the same cable, but we don't actually have any color source. It's just
Standard.
it's just monochrome video. So like, I don't know if you're going to call that. I guess we call it composite because that's just but it's pretty much just a sync signal and a brightness signal. There's no color thing happening because basically I think just that if you want to do monochrome video, you can just more or less send something at the frequency of the screen refresh and just turn it up and down. But I think if you want to do color, you have to then piggyback like a higher frequency on top. And that's why that they can.
Which would mean another resistor on top of it.
Well, yeah, it would mean probably a lot of stuff, but
A resistor with a demo or something.
Well, also you'd need a proper video chip because this is literally just using a microcontroller that runs the game, and then all it's doing is just one of the pins of the microcontroller. It just pulses it on and off, and it turns it on every time there's a white pixel and off every time there's a black pixel, and it just by pulsing it in time with the TV's refresh means that you get a picture. Like that's really all it's doing. It's like just every time that the electron beam is going side to side, this one go high, go low, go high, go low. It's got this little 16 megahertz clock crystal there, which is just telling the chip,
when to turn it on and off.
It's going. Yeah, but like there's no actual video, and this is how the very first computer games worked. There's no video chip. It's just basically they've got an output that's turning on and off fast enough that you can get something on the screen. There's no video memory.
Just like we have of today.
Well, I mean now, like like subsequent to, I'm just trying to think. So the Atari 2600, I think it did have a video chip. I'm sure someone in the comments can correct me, but it didn't really have any video memory. So like, there's no representation of the whole screen in the Atari's memory. Like it just, as it draws the screen, the CPU is basically saying, okay, do red, do blue, do this, and it's got to do that every frame. Like if you stop, then whatever you're drawing disappears. Whereas then like slightly later stuff, if you go to like the NES or something, has a video chip.
Or even the the DS line of the DS's line.
Yeah, although
DS, 2DS, DSL.
Well, actually, but then I'm thinking about, because I think the NES still didn't have what they call a bitmap screen, but something like, say, like the Amstrad computer, the 8-bit computer that we've got.
Oh no, I was thinking of the freaking Nintendo Wii.
So that Amstrad computer has a section of memory that is video memory, and so it's like that piece of memory has the whole screen in it, and if you want to draw something, you just go into that bit of memory and put something in there. You can put in like a bunch of 1s or 2s or whatever for the different colours, in the pattern of a square. And then when the next frame comes, the video processor gets that memory and actually draws it on the screen. So, like, it means that the CPU can be doing other things. It's not just drawing the whole time. Because some of those really early ones, like the Atari, it would pretty much spend most of its time drawing the screen, and then it was only in that brief period when the screen is refreshing that it would actually be able to run the game. And it sort of did give them, like, if you look at Atari 2600 games, you'll see that they can be very colourful for their time, because you'll see stuff like if there's a sky, they could do a gradient, because what it would do is every scan line as it goes down,
it's just less of a.
It can just like change the color, yeah. So you could actually, but you couldn't say have a vertical gradient or a horizontal gradient. You could have going down, but you couldn't have a gradient going across because it would have to change all the time. So you can only have a few things crossways, but you can have heaps of things vertically.
Does it come with a chassis?
Nah.
That means you're going to have to look at making one for it.
Yeah, it means I've got to get down the kitchen shop and buy some more bowls.
So to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like I said, you know, that I did make a console with an earlier version of this, you know, using just stainless steel bowls. And I just, you know, drilled out holes in the top to put all the plugs in, you know, and I actually made removable controllers and things, you know, and put just toggle switches for power and reset and things like that.
I think you need a bit more.
Okay, we're on the very home stretch though. Okay, let's see if I can actually fit this through the little cutouts.
You did for the other one.
Into this one.
Red is on the right by the looks of it.
Yeah, no, it's just that I've got to go down first and then up, so then they can go down into there. That's right. Just where I've cut the sleeve, it's a little bit fat, just because I think where I pulled it in, so it's...
Then I would have condensed it together. Oh god. You're pulling the solder off.
No, I'm pulling the black sleeve off the wire.
I know, but that's effectively what you want to do, isn't it?
No, not this much. I like it to actually kind of...
Oh.
It's okay. As they say, there's never time to do it right, but there's always time to do it over.
There you go.
Yeah, no, because I mean I'm short-sighted, so I actually I do see
this one.
close up with
You'd profess in this field.
yes, no, I can see close up. I can't see far away stuff. So if you see me driving without my glasses on, you better hope I've got contact lenses. I can certainly do close stuff.
Me, I'm more or less astigmatic.
Yeah.
I can see close, but it's very interesting. Like, I can see close and far, but it has to be at a specific angle.
Okay. Right.
What do you think I got? You know, I don't have bifocals anymore. I used to.
Okay. I actually did just get bifocals.
They were just for reading at the time, and I had two separate glasses, one for reading, one for everyday.
Well, in my case, it's just, you know, that, I mean, as you get older, like, you do start to lose your close vision, you know. And I haven't exactly lost my close vision, but I can't see up close with my glasses, because my glasses are designed for long distance, you know, so being short-sighted on that end. It looks like all my hard work tinning that wire is a bit wasted because I pulled off so much sleeve that I've got bare copper coming, but that's fine, so I'm just going to solder this bit in there.
You should have enough.
This is literally the last piece of soldering, and then we're done. So,
and the last piece of solder too.
Yeah.
There we go. That looks about
Not
right.
the neatest thing on earth, but you know. So this is why you have to make cases for these controllers, so people can't see my crappy wiring. All right.
Well, at least it's one piece.
Okay, folks, we are done. So, oh, one last thing. I've got to stick the little sticky feet on.
Oh yeah. Which are.
Oh, I should have stuck these wires through here. That's fine. I'm not going to do it now, am I? Sticky foot.
Technically, you can.
No, because I've already soldered both ends, so there's no free end to wrap. I'd have to desolder one end. I'm just.
It'll be another 5 minutes.
Exactly. This one I'm not going to. There we go. Look, it's neater anyway because the wires are on the bottom, so it's, you know, I can't even see. There we go. Okay, folks, let's turn off our soldering iron.
I don't remember how to do that.
Yep. There we go. And then off. Make sure that's nice and clean. Adrian F will get up me. There we go.
And put that back and we're good.
Let's go for it and test it out. Okay guys, here we are with our completed kit. I've plugged it into our dependable Conker TV here, and I'm going to put the batteries in. We'll see if it does anything. Oh, what happened? There we go. Look at it. And when I turn the little knob there, down, up and down. Oh yeah. And
that one's.
Why is this one not going? What have I done wrong? Let's see.
Because they're wired the same.
Well, let's give it. Oh, hang on. Ah, it's under computer control. Look. Look at this. So
it's only as single player.
Well, look, if I tap at this, I think, here we go. If we press this, now we're on 2-player, and now we've got
both working.
Let's see if I can play with myself. Right.
You're probably going to have a lot of editing to do.
Could be one of these.
That's fine. Our audience expects it.
Hey.
They're all old Benny Hill fans. They know the score.
Hey, you can always make an outtakes or a blooper at the end.
We'll leave it in, something for the dads. Oh, look at that. There we go. So ambidextrous Pong playing, or if you are lucky enough to have a friend, you can play with your friend, and you can come in here. I'm going to leave this here. Actually, I think I'll take it home right now because my kids will probably want to see it. But I will leave this here later on so that everyone can try it out. These analog controls actually, you can do a little slow and fast. You know, like it is noticeably better than the old kit that I had. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Look at that, a new era in video entertainment, people. Okay, well, yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you down here at the Computer Museum.